This meeting is called to order at 7 o'clock. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Welcome. We are being broadcast live today over Van Buren Television Channel 12. Clerk Wright, would you please take the roll?
I will. Trustee Martin.
Here.
Trustee White.
Present.
Trustee Frazier.
Here.
Trustee Miller.
Here.
Treasurer Bud.
Here.
The clerk is present. The supervisor.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Clerk. All right. We begin with an executive summary just to let anybody know that's in the audience or out on TV land what we're going to be dealing with today. We have a consent agenda, which is something we all approved of yesterday. We will be voting to approve the checks that were written for the ongoing business operations of the township. In addition, we will be voting to approve some new language to our Western Wayne County Special Operations Team. Nomenclature, that's SWAT. We are part of the Western Wayne SWAT, and we're going to continue to share with that group and be part of that group when the region needs us or we need them in our area. We're also going to be voting on a grant from SMART, which will help pay for Parks and Rec transportation and senior transportation. That transportation, by the way, to the public is dispatched out of the senior center. We will be having open votes and discussion, primarily on the Subaru and their proposed tax credits for their development. We will then have a final reading of an ordinance requiring businesses and property owners to clear their sidewalks of snow at a reasonable amount of time. And finally, the big issue of the evening will be the vote to implement the 2019 budget. This budget sets the priorities for the upcoming year. It is also included in that would be the sewer, the water funds, and all other revenue funds. Thank you. The next item on the agenda, next item is the adoption of the agenda. Can I get a motion for the approval?
Supervisor, I make a motion for the adoption of the agenda. Support.
Okay, I've got a motion by Miller, support by Frazier. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next item is the adoption of the consent agenda. Trustee White, would you please make the motion and read off the consent agenda?
Thank you, Supervisor. I move for the adoption of the consent agenda, which is item number 1, the work study session minutes of October 1, 2018. Item number 2, the board meeting minutes of October 2nd, 2018. Item number 3, the prepaid list of October 4th, 2018. Item number 5, the voucher list of October 16th, 2018. Item number 6, approval of the combination of lots 83-136-0018-000 and 83-136-01-0019-00, the Bertrig subdivision. Item number 7, approval of the memorandum of understanding addendum between the township and Western Wayne County Special Operations Team. Item number 8, approval of the Suburban Mobility Authority for Regional Transportation Municipal, or the SMART Transportation, for fiscal year 2019 Credit Central.
Okay, I have a motion motion by Trustee White, supported by Treasurer Bud. Okay. All right, do I have any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
This motion passes. Next item is a public hearing. I need a motion to go into public hearing to receive public comment on establishing an industrial development District 15.
Through the chair, I make a motion we approve opening the public hearing.
Support.
I have a motion, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're in public hearing now. Is there anybody from the public that wishes to speak on the establishing an industrial development District 15? This would be establishing a district on the boundaries of the Mr. Smith Farm for the Subaru development. I hear none.
Whoops, wait a minute, we have one.
Oh, we do, I'm sorry. Dave, thank you. Please, your name and your title for the record, please.
My name is David Schreiber. I'm the Business Development Manager for Wayne County Economic Development Corporation. You've heard me talk before, so I'll keep it very short, but this is one of the most exciting projects we've certainly seen this year, and one of the most exciting projects I've worked on. And while I hope to see a lot more of these types of projects come here, they are something that comes only once in a blue moon. And so it's great to have the opportunity to welcome them into our community and be part of that process. I've been excited about the way that the company has approached this project, the way that they have really taken into consideration the needs of the residents in the area and the community itself, and been supportive in working with this. So just wanted to let you know that. Thank you.
In case I forget to say it later, we're all very thankful for Air Tropos and Wayne County's help.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else from the public that would like to speak? Hearing none, can I close? So, go ahead.
Motion to close the public hearing number 1 to receive public comment on establishing Industrial Development District number 15.
Okay. White and Frazier. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It's closed. We're now going to have to go back into a public hearing again for the same issue. I need now to a motion to go into public hearing to receive public comment on the request for an industrial facility tax exemption certificate.
Supervisor, I make the motion to go into public comment on the request for industrial facilities tax exemption certificate pursuit of Act 198, Michigan Act of 1974 as amended for Subaru Research and Development Incorporated.
Thank you. Who was that?
Sure.
Okay, Clerk Wright, Trustee Frazier. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we're back. This is public comment on the tax exemption certificate that we will be discussing later for vote. Is there anybody from the public that wishes to speak on the tax exemption certificate? Hearing none?
Through the chair, I make a motion to close the public hearing regarding the
Support.
industrial facilities tax exemption.
Okay, I have a motion for support by Treasurer Bud, supported by Clerk Wright. Hearing no discussion. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. That was the way those usually go in case the public's watching. There's usually not a lot of discussion at that point. They will be coming back in a few minutes, so. Okay, correspondence, announcements, and presentations. Does anybody have any correspondence, announcements, or presentations? I have 2, but if you don't do them, I'll do them.
I have one. I guess I just want to announce that there's an upcoming election, November 6th, the general election for state officials, governor, all the way down to the judges' races. I want to encourage everyone to come out and vote. Come out to the township offices as if you are going to be absent in your community that day and pick up an absentee ballot if that's the case. Please read the ballot because there's no reason absentee and all that kind of stuff is on the ballot. There's no straight party voting, so make sure that you look the ballot through and make your choice for all candidates. But you can't pick one party for this election. There's no straight party voting. So,
Okay. I have 2. The Belleville Area Museum Kids Costume Halloween Party is Sunday, October 28th from 3 to 5. It's at the Belleville Area Museum. For people from Van Buren, the Belleville Area Museum is a Van Buren building. It's run through jointly with Van Buren, Belleville, and Sumter. You are more than welcome there. Again, October 28th, 3 to 5. Also, we have the Van Buren Township Candy Loop, which is on Monday, October 29th from 5 to 7. Monday, October 29th. I see my rec people going no.
Saturday, October 27th.
Saturday, October 27th. Okay. Glad you're here. Okay. Saturday, October 27th from 5 to 7. And 4 to 6. Okay. Let's start that over. Saturday the 27th from 4 to 6. It's over here at Quirk Park behind our building. How many did we have? We had well over 1,000 last year. This is, what?
It's a free event.
It's a free event, lots of candy. It is a great time. Please come on out. Any other announcements? Nope. Okay.
Pam has one in the audience.
I'm sorry, Pam. Thank you.
She just can't get enough of the township.
Here every day. Good evening, Board. My name is Pam Fleming. I'm the coordinator for the Belleville Van Buren Goodfellows. I'm here to announce that as of Monday, November 5th, we'll start taking registrations for Christmas assistance. Registrations will run from Monday, November 5th through December 7th. To qualify, you must be a City of Belleville or Van Buren Township resident. Registration forms will be available at the Van Buren Township Police Department and on the township website at www.vanburenmi.org. When registering, you must show proof of residency with either a driver's license or current utility bill showing your address. You must register in person with a completed application at the Van Buren Township Police Department front desk. If you have any questions, you can call my cell at 734-260-4150. That's it. Thanks.
What's that? Hold on. Trustee Martin?
Ms. Fleming, how do we make donations to the local Goodfellow?
You can make them out to Van Buren, City of Belleville, Van Buren Goodfellows, and you can mail them here to the township address to my attention, and I'll get them here.
Thank you.
Clerk Wright?
I have one more announcement because the township hall we would not have another meeting the first of the month, so I need to announce that the township hall will be closed November 12th for Veterans Day. Again, township offices will be closed November 12th for Veterans Day.
All right. We're moving on. We're now into public comment. If there's anybody from the public that wishes to speak today on any items that are on the menu, on the agenda. One more time for public comment. Hearing none, we're moving on to new business. New business, the first item is to consider approval of Resolution 2018-29. This is to establish an industrial development district number 15, which would be the Mr. Smith Farm over the Subaru property.
To the chair.
Trustee Martin.
I make a motion to approve Resolution 2018-29 to establish Industrial Development District Number 15.
Support.
I have a motion by Trustee Martin and supported by Trustee Frazier. Is there any discussion on this? We already discussed it at length for a couple months now, so we're pretty much there. Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next item is to consider approval of Resolution 2018-30, which is an industrial facilities exemption certificate for Subaru.
Supervisor,
Clerk
I
Wright.
make the motion for the approval of Resolution 2018-30, an industrial facility exemption certificate for Subaru Research and Development, Inc.
Support.
Aye. Ms. Budd. Okay. Is there any discussion on this item? Mr. Akers, could you please come up and give us a short highlights on this?
Good evening, Board. The application before you is for an industrial facilities tax exemption certificate for Subaru Research and Development. We've reviewed this application based on the township's industrial facilities exemption, our PA 198 policy, and based on the total investment and the number of jobs created and the other factors that we consider when evaluating the number of years to offer a tax abatement, we have recommended a 12-year PA 198 tax abatement. Now, that 12-year tax abatement, the PA 198s are a 50% reduction of real property taxes from the township millages and also from the county millages. There is a spreadsheet that was prepared in the packet which shows the anticipated revenue that we would receive from the Subaru Research and Development Project without the tax abatement, with the tax abatement, and as the property currently stands, as the Harold Smith Farm. Currently, just to summarize that spreadsheet, the Harold Smith Farm, for the township millages, that's our township operating millage and our public safety millage, we generate a total of $1,122 annually in revenue. And after the PA 198 abatement, based on an estimated true cash value of $31,800,000, the estimated revenue, even with the tax abatement, will be approximately $58,000 per year. So with that, I would be happy to answer any questions from the board, along with Mr. Heisel from Dickinson and Wright. He's Subaru's representative. He's available to answer questions, as well as assessing coordinator or director Stevenson.
Okay, just to overview, we did go through this yesterday at length. Nobody's crazy about tax incentives, but they did do a 1.5, they're going to do a $1.5 million environmental cleanup, 400-foot setbacks on their borders, massive berms with trees on top of them. They met with the residents numerous times to work that out. The residents seem pretty okay with this. And it is a net gain to the township of $56,000. The policy of the board was to allow these things based on a point system. This was the point system, this was the number, and it worked out real well for us. And we're kind of excited. We beat out four other states for this this program. That's pretty good. It's a good place to be. Trustee Frazier.
Well, I'd just like to say as a voter, I'm tired of corporate welfare and big corporations asking us for tax abatements. But it's the cost of doing business, and I realize that as being a professional realtor who has sold commercial property before. I'd just like to say, for those who don't know, Subaru is a cutting-edge automotive. What they're going to do is put in a cutting-edge automotive research and development plant that's going to be high quality. And the way I understand it, it's going to be their North America headquarters. Is that accurate? For research and development. I know that they have headquarters in California, and they have a auto plant in Lafayette, Indiana, but...
Yeah, good evening, members, trustees. Appreciate your time. As Ron introduced, I'm Mark Heisel, and I've had the benefit of being before you before. Trustee Frazier, to answer your question, yes, I think you've captured the spirit of what this is. It's going to be Subaru Research and Development's North American headquarters for all R&D activities. Mm-hmm. There is a Subaru Corporation that handles the selling of the vehicles and making sure they get on the roads in North America. But in terms of those activities that are essential to the development of that vehicle and future vehicles, that will happen right here in Van Buren Township. So I think that's something to be very excited about.
Thank you. And it's my understanding that you're going to be investing approximately $30.7 billion you had $30.7 billion in sales last year, I believe, according to Forbes, when I looked you up.
You are actually more knowledgeble than I am today.
I'm just telling you, you boys are big. Your headquarters is in Tokyo, Japan, and you're into trucking, you're into cars, you're into aircraft, you're into parts, you're into all kinds of things.
That's a good name for the township,
yeah.
I think.
But
yeah, I will say one thing, because I understand this, sometimes these anxieties about tax abatements and what that means. And since you have a real estate background, maybe I can appeal to this. I do this a lot. I do it a lot for international companies. And so when we do that site selection process, you can't underestimate the importance of these types of incentive programs. I will tell you, point blank, on this project, the deciding factor of Van Buren over another municipality not too far away from here was the commitment by the township to work with us, both in terms of the development process, with which Mr. Akers has been fabulous to orchestrate, and then the expectation that we would have the opportunity to apply for this abatement. That was a deciding factor over another municipality just down the street. And I think that they will sorely rule the day when they decided not to do that.
Well, I'd just like to say that, you know, it's location, location, location that sells a piece of property. And we are pretty well located there because we're between Detroit Metropolitan Airport, Willow Run. We have the mobility center close by. So our location is pretty unique. And that's a plus for us. I don't think you could have done better than that. And I'm impressed by the fact that you are making an investment in the land, and the building is going to be top-notch. And you're going to incur over $1 million to mitigate the environmental problem on the land regarding the drainage of the water, I guess. And you're going to be putting in new equipment that costs approximately over $3 million. Is that correct?
Well over. I think you're
Okay.
probably looking at some of the personal property, the test equipment is probably what you're looking at, some of the new test equipment.
So you'll have approximately $40 million invested in Van Buren Township, which is a considerable amount of money. And it will add jobs, over 100 jobs, I believe, to our township.
We plan to have over 140 jobs in 4 years.
Okay.
So this facility will take about a year to build
But
before we can move people in.
You can see how it makes me feel as a township board member that it's only a matter of $58,000 extra you'd have to pay in taxes. But if you want an abatement and it's the cost of doing business, I guess that's what we have to do. And I certainly wouldn't want to disappoint Mr. Smith, who has come to every board meeting and has been a trooper here. And we want to welcome Subaru and get this venture started for the township.
Trustee Miller?
I want to also welcome you to the township. I think it's great that Subaru is here and that you'll be a great partner. Some of the items that we talked about yesterday is that it was going to be a 12-year an abatement at $58,000 a year. And if you weren't receiving this tax abatement, you would pay $116,000. Other things that we talked about is that this project is a different level of economic development. And you have really honed in and engaged with the residents to answer all their concerns and questions, and we really appreciate that, and the residents appreciate that you'll be a good partner with our township along with the community. Now, I have to personally tell you that I think that you can afford the taxes. Subaru is $1 billion a year company. I feel that tax abatements are for startup companies, not someone who could pay their taxes. Not to take away from Mr. Smith, not to take away from this project, but I don't believe in these tax abatements, and I urge this board to also bring this up to our elected officials at the higher level. I heard yesterday that tax abatements are a way to do business. I don't believe it's the right way to do business when you have a billion-dollar company. And I know that we've revised the tax abatement procedure a few times now. I understand where the 12 years came in. The parcel has been, I was told that the parcel has been vacant for quite some time, and that because of the township vision, this is why you're here, and that you had a bidding war, basically, for lack of a better word, with other states to be here. So to wrap this all up, I think that if we're paying $26,000 a year annually in public safety, I think that should be considered along with this tax abatement and the point system. I appreciate that Subaru is bringing water and sewer at your cost and all the work that you've done with the berms. I get that, but I don't agree with you receiving this tax abatement at 12 years. So I appreciate your loyalty, and I appreciate that you're You're going to be committed here, but I'm voting no.
Anybody else want to make comment?
Through the chair.
Yes, Treasurer White?
I guess, like everybody else, we're glad you're here. And I know as a member of the Planning Commission, it was our pleasure to work with you, and I appreciate how you were willing to work with the residents and how well received and how well you did that. Also, anything the Planning Commission wanted, you were more in a big thanks to Ron for all the work that he did to get everything to us, but we certainly appreciate what you've done.
Thank you.
Through the chair.
Clerk Wright?
As I stated yesterday, we welcome you to the community. I said that the tax abatement in Michigan is a part of doing business. We didn't create it, but it's a part of the business module that's set forth in order to bring businesses into our community. And although the elected official, our job is not to create jobs, it's our job to provide the environment for people like you to come in that offer jobs. And that's part of the atmosphere. And it's made up by someone larger than us, and we just have to follow the protocol. We did set up our schedule to accommodate what we think you should achieve, and based on that, appreciate you came and chose Van Buren Township as your home.
Thank you. Okay, hearing no further discussion. Oh, okay, go ahead, Clerk White, and Treasurer, excuse me, Trustee White.
Trustee White, right, finally got it. I certainly want to welcome you to Van Buren Township, and most of all, I'm looking at the 105 jobs I think that you stated that you would be bringing with you. That'll be 105 new jobs in our community.
Actually, 144.
144, that's even better.
That's, yep.
And we can certainly use it. Currently, the amount of taxation that we're getting from the farm property is $1,123, and that's going to increase to $58,324. However, with the tax abatement, you're getting a $58,000 decrease in your taxation. It looks like it's at 50% rate or close to it. And I certainly believe that Subaru could afford an additional $58,000 a year in a facility like that. Now, there's very few parcels of property that are similar to the Smith Farm. You're very close to the airport, Willow Run Airport, right next door. You're also very close to Interstate 75, US 23, and Interstate 275. So the amount of acreage is, what, 76 or 77 acres or something like that. With that kind of accommodation for a huge company like Subaru is important, and I doubt very seriously if any other community has 75 acres for that type of close access, because if you fly somebody in from overseas and they can practically walk from the airport to the factory. So,
Well,
but they won't. But they can. However, I would like to see, in great admiration of the company, for them to, on occasion, to give $50,000 to the Public Safety Department, because you are going to be using our Public Safety Department. And I would think that would be very admirable if you can convince Subaru to do something like that for us. I'm not saying every year, but every other year or something else like that, and they can certainly take the full amount off of their tax income. So that's my feeling on it. Like I say, like a couple of the others, this irks me to no end, because we do not give our residents any type of a tax break other than their principal resident exemption. And I will be voting yes on this, only for the 144 jobs. Michigan is not in as dire economic straits as it was several years ago, but we need to keep moving forward, and that amount of jobs, it will be huge for somebody. And I'd like to ask you, where are these jobs coming from? Are some of the employees going to be transferred in?
Yes.
How many?
Well, I don't know the exact numbers, but I know definitely 43 will be coming from another community in Michigan
Okay.
to this facility from day one. And I expect that other engineering employees will be coming from other facilities, whether that's in Indiana, California, I'm not sure of that.
So you're not sure how many new jobs this is going to create because of the facilities in Indiana and Illinois, because they're going to hire
Well, they'll
additional people.
create 101 new jobs in Michigan.
Okay.
144 jobs
Total.
in Van Buren.
Okay. But a lot of
So
those
if you look
101,
at the point system and how that works.
correct, but a lot of those 101 jobs will just be transfers in from,
No, there'll probably a very small percentage of those will be existing jobs that are transferred from other states.
Okay.
The majority of those over that 3-year period, which is what happens in this
So-
job hiring phase. would
okay,
be
but
new
so
jobs.
you're saying that a majority of those 101 jobs or 104 jobs will be from the southeastern Michigan area?
I don't know, but I would assume that part of, many of our clients would choose this area because of the wealth of talent in the engineering sector, whether that's with people that are already working in this area or new hires, new grads coming out of our wonderful colleges and universities.
As I stated first, welcome to Van Buren Township. We're proud to have a new business here. It's going to cost us $58,000 a year in taxes, but we will increase our taxable tax base by, it looks like, $56,000 from the current cornfield to the current big building, so.
And I would just add one thing to your comment, Trustee White. So yes, 75 acres sounds like a lot, but what we're really actually getting is 20 acres less because we have agreed to those wonderful green belt buffers to protect our neighbors to the east and around the entire property, which I think was an extremely, I've been doing this a long time. Trustee Frazier, you know what 20 acres is worth in the real estate world, and that's a significant concession right there. So there are these little segments along the way, I think, that have shown, and I think you appreciate this and have commented across the board about this, but that Subaru has reached out and gone that extra mile, has not tried to tap into every other benefit that it might try to do, that developers often try to do in these types of projects.
And as a resident of Van Buren Township, we certainly appreciate that, but that is part of our planning commission's requirements. If you will look at some of the other new areas that have been built here, they also have buffers similar to that.
Well, not a 400-foot buffer.
Well, I understand.
50 feet, yes. 400 feet is significant.
All right, hearing no further discussion. All in favor on this item?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Opposed.
Roll call vote, please.
Trustee White,
Yes.
trustee Miller,
No.
trustee Martin,
Yes.
trustee Frazier,
Yes.
trustee Bud,
Yes.
vote yes for me. Supervisor?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you, this motion passes. Welcome.
Thank you,
Thank you
Board.
very much.
Again, I just want to say, I welcome Subaru. I'm saying no to the tax abatement.
And we can revisit that policy that is in our books if you would like.
Because I agree with trustee Miller that it should be for the smaller corporation, not for a giant corporation like Subaru.
And one comment on top of it is, the companies don't pay PPT or personal property tax anymore, so that's been eliminated.
We're going to move on, we have a long night tonight.
Oh, okay.
Possibly, yeah. All right, next item is to consider approval of the second and the final reading of ordinance 100218 to amend the general code of ordinances. This is on streets, sidewalks, and other public places. Can somebody please make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Could you read it, please?
Okay, to consider approval of the second final reading of ordinance 10-02-8, paren 2, to amend the general code of ordinances, chapter 74, open paren, streets, sidewalk, and other public places, article 2, close paren, sidewalks, to add section 74-27 to 74-29.
I need support?
Support.
Right. Okay, Mr. Best. Director Best, could you please give us an overview? This will require a roll call vote. It is
As you're aware from before, this is the ordinance that requires cleaning of sidewalks and driveways after a storm event. of a greater than, I think it's, off the top of my head, I can't remember, I don't have it right in front of me. I think it's 1 inch or more.
Yes.
We've talked about this before. This is to create a community that is walkable and safe for our residents to traverse after a storm event, in particular our businesses, but also our residential areas. One of the things I'll stress is that while there is a civil infraction associated with this ordinance, our police department ensures that the residents and the board that they'll use common sense, and our ordinance officers will use common sense when enforcing this. This is to help alleviate problems in the long term. This is something that premier communities do, and it's something that we've moved forward and presented to the board for your consideration. A second
I
reading.
can't tell you how many phone calls I've gotten on people along Belleville Road that can't walk those sidewalks because the businesses refuse to clear the snow. When we had no ordinance to do anything about it, we now do. This is, we're not looking at writing a bunch of tickets.
That's correct.
We're looking to tell people, please clean up your walk. If they don't do it, then we're gonna start talking about tickets. Okay. You raised your hand, so Clerk Wright, then Trustee Frazier.
Well, I just want to say this is an ordinance that I've been looking forward to for a while, and I think it not only helps the businesses in clearing the sidewalks in front of their storefront, but also it helps the neighborhood with people that don't clear the sidewalk for kids that got to walk to the bus stop and stuff like that. I mean, it's a treacherous time walking to the bus stop for kids in the morning time, and you think that's a thankless thing to ask for residents to clean their sidewalk, but it don't happen a lot of times, and kids have issues getting to the bus stop. So I think it's a necessary tool. It don't have to be a hindrance out there. It should be something that will help individuals in that effort, and I support it 100%.
Thank you. Trustee Frazier.
Well, not only kids, but it'll help the mailman, the FedEx, and the UPS drivers that have to deliver things. A community needs a snow ordinance, as far as I'm concerned. It should be in place, and we should have something regarding snow plows going down streets, but I guess the township doesn't, we don't plow the subdivisions, is my understanding. Is that, the county does? Is that correct?
The township does not own any roads, and so therefore we have no jurisdiction to plow or maintain any streets.
So people can
The
park
county
out.
is responsible.
Yeah.
Or private subdivisions.
So there's nothing that we could put in place that would help assist the county for plowing out subdivisions? Because if people park on the street, you know, when a big snowfall happens, it's usually in a community, they tow the cars if they don't get them off the street so the plows can come through.
Actually, if the township board wants to take up a snow emergency ordinance, townships across Michigan do perform snow emergencies. I think there's a lot of thought that needs to go into it, and it's different than a city because cities do their own plowing. There is a pathway to do snow emergencies, but that's, I think, a discussion that we can have at a different time.
So let's go back onto the sidewalks.
So, you know, I just like to see us, you know, look at that since we're addressing the sidewalks now. But having clear sidewalks is important for our community and residents.
Okay.
Through the chair,
Anybody else?
one quick question. Since this is a new ordinance, will we be giving, warning tickets? I know we have snowbirds, because it's a new thing, so are we going to be slapping residents with tickets right away this year?
So I will delicately speak for our fine public safety department. They are some of the finest, our ordinance officers and our public safety department are some of the finest people that I've ever met.
Absolutely.
And they work with our residents and our businesses. They also show extreme amount of patience and patience and justice to our residents and our businesses. They're going to work and understand these situations and work with these residents and businesses to get this.
And the snowbirds.
Oh yeah, this is going to be something that they're going to work with our residents and businesses to implement, we're not going to come down and point a finger and say it's time to plow. It's going to be, how do we get there?
Okay,
So-
great, good to hear.
That's how they always operate, cooperatively.
So we want compliance, not punishing our residents. Compliance.
Okay. Is there, anybody else? Okay, this is the second and final reading. This is an ordinance. For the public, that means an ordinance is a law, and we are a law-giving body. Therefore, this one requires a roll call vote. Clerk?
Okay. Trustee Frazier?
Yes.
Trustee Martin?
Yes.
Trustee Miller?
Yes.
Trustee White?
Yes.
Trustee Bud?
Yes.
Yes for me, Supervisor.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Supervisor, would it be possible to put a copy of this ordinance in the water bills?
I don't know. We'll take a look at that.
That's a big
But
order.
an abbreviated one of it
Right,
would be
right.
very much so.
I think it's too big.
Yeah.
One page letter in there, so.
Okay. Next item is to consider approval of resolution for the adoption of the amended budget. I have an announcement, I have my usual reading about this. This is our 2018 amended budget and our 2019 budget. This is the budget that pretty much sets the priorities for the upcoming year. This is one of the biggest things, this is the biggest thing that this board does every year. Today, we will be voting on the 2019 budget. This process is a long journey. I want to let people know how long this journey is. It begins in April when fringe benefits and labor cost reviews and calculations are made for the upcoming year, and they're negotiated. In June, all the directors begin meetings, and the directors begin filling in the township software for budget projections, and we all meet together to get them right. In July, we begin one-on-one meetings with the board members to determine and set the priorities for this budget. In August, this board met for 2 days to hear presentations from the departments and debate the details of the budget. A straw poll consensus by the board, this board, was achieved to approve each department's budget. In September, the board had discussions which refined several portions of the budget. At the end of September, the budget before you was printed and released to the public. In October, the board had an additional discussion of the budget at its work study, and the next day, which is 2 weeks ago, a public hearing was held. There were no questions from the public at that hearing. We are now here 6 months later to finalize the 2019 budget. This budget the budget voted on today will amend the 2018 budget from its budgeted amount of $17.4 million to $17.8 million. This increase represents about $450,000 budgeted to the updates for the Township Hall and movement of $1.5 million into a long-term debt fund. We have updated the fire halls, we've updated the police dispatch areas, we've purchased the new fire trucks and the new ladder truck. We are now looking at updating the Township Hall. It's been 25 years, and we need to take care of our infrastructure in the township so we can get another 25 years out of it. This upgrade program will last well into next year. The 2019 budget, as proposed, will be $17.7 million. This is a slight decrease over the 2018 amended budget. Highlights of this amendment on the budget will include renovation of the Township Hall. We will be working in conjunction with our DDA. Thank you, DDA. This budget also confirms the DDA budget. Part of that will be that they will aid the township in building a new splash pad in Quirk Park, They will be completing the DDA's I-94 overpass. People think that's the state of Michigan. That's the DDA pedestrian overpass. And there'll be the completion of the DDA's Pocket Park, or their placemaking park, next to Aldi's. We have another Wayne County Local Road Initiative grant for local road improvements. This totals us to $750,000. Canton's bragging they got $750. We got $750 with a third of the people. This grant was awarded by Wayne County, but it happened because Van Buren, this board, invited and lobbied for this grant with the county. and they liked it, and they got a lot of positive response. So they've been rolling it over, and we've lobbied again. But I do need to thank Commissioner Al Heides and Wayne County Executive Warren Evans for helping get this $750,000 bond through to Van Buren Township. We are also still working off our sewer assessment and upgrade grant. Another grant. This grant was for another $750,000. It is helping keep Van Buren water rates some of the lowest water rates in the region. We are returning next year with our summer youth program, which is our kids working and senior citizens and fixing up the parks and the cemeteries. We call it the REAL. We're getting another grant for the Detroit-Wayne County Mental Health Authority for about $60,000. Our community development block grant are coming still, of which Treasurer Budd is the vice chair. Van Buren Park is slated this year to get over $125,000. This grant will be further used to upgrade, I believe, the pavilions, which is what the Parks and Recreation Committee has asked us to work on. We also received a grant 2 years ago for $300,000. I mentioned it because it just came in the door recently. And I also mentioned it because we got this. It was our first grant we ever went after that was competitively bid. And we went after it with our friends in Sumter and the city of Belleville and here in Township. So we're sharing that one, and also Garden City. This will be used to reduce blight throughout all of our communities. Wayne County has been awarded, Wayne County has also awarded another $30,000 park grant to Van Buren Township. We have been stockpiling this. We now have over $90,000 in Wayne County parks. I see my Parks and Recreation people all happy. Parks and grant monies for future park improvements. Again, thank you to Commissioner Al Heides and County Executive Warren Evans. We're being aggressive in the grant world. We are filling the grant queue. I believe that next year is going to dwarf this year in grants. I'm excited to see what we're going to be getting next year. This budget also continues to build our long-term debt fund by moving $1.75 million next year into this fund. We plan on doing this every year. The state of Michigan has sent us a letter acknowledging that our long-term debt plans comply with their new rules that were laid out by the legislature last year. Those new rules, 3/4 of the communities cannot keep up with. They can't meet them. These rules are meant to assure that municipalities are realistically dealing with their long-term debts. And I want people to know that Van Buren is dealing with its long-term debt. This budget leaves the township with nearly $6 million in general fund accumulated surplus. This is above the $4 million the state has recommended for a township our size in budget stabilization funds. What this means is that Van Buren Township is very stable. Board, I present to you the 2018 amended budget and the 2019 proposed budget, the wage schedule, and the accompanying revenues and enterprise funds.
Supervisor?
Right.
With that being said, I'd like to make the motion to consider Resolution 2018-25, the adoption of fiscal year 2018 amended general fund budget and fiscal year 2019 proposed general fund budget inclusive of customary budget directives A through F and Resolution 2018-28, the 2019 salary wage schedule.
Support.
Okay. I have support by Trustee Miller. She'd already called it. Okay. My overview is complete. So, yes, Trustee Miller.
Wow, this budget took 6 months to get to tonight. And I want to thank all the directors and the staff for working so hard and diligently to bring us to tonight. It wasn't easy, and there was a lot of arguments, and none of us won on every single point. Some of the highlights of the things we disagreed on were the salary evaluations and how some personnel were given one amount where some were given just the 2%. That was a heated discussion, but even though I'm not gonna win on every single point. I will vote on this budget tonight because I believe that this has been the best budget that we've had so far because of all the input that you've received from this board. So I'll be saying yes, even though I said no on many items.
Clerk Ricker.
I'd like to thank all the directors for their hard work and that you put into getting this budget together. I would like to thank the assistant, the executive assistant for the supervisor, Dan Selman for the work that he put in, putting the compiling and putting the budget together. The budget you see before us, the packet, is a very nice presentation. It's a good job. And finally, I'd like to thank the board for all the hard work. We set the initiative of when we want to start based on state statute, and we've stuck to it. This is the second year in a row. I commend everyone for sticking to the guns and getting the budget done. Good work.
Trustee Martin?
I also appreciate the hard work that's been put into this budget. As Trustee Miller said, there was some items that we talked about, we didn't agree on everything, but at the end of the day, I think this is a good budget for the township. I'll be voting yes on it.
Anybody else?
Supervisor,
Trustee White?
I will be voting no on this budget. I think there's excessive expenditures in there in many areas. Also, we have not put the $1.5 million into the retirement debt fund under the township board. It's not included in the budget that I have.
That's supposed to be.
It's not, we took it out of last
Okay, but
year.
that's going to increase the budget by $1.5 million,
No.
okay? And because it has been listed historically under the township board expenditures, as it was last year, $1.5 million, and I don't know how it was taken out, but it still should be put into budget because it is an expenditure for us. Also,
Well, why isn't it?
It is.
also, this budget could wait for another month easily until we could have further suggestions and further input on it. And I'm still befuddled as to how some of the salaries were increased and some were stated at the 2%. I don't understand how that is determined on who gets a huge raise, whereas everybody else gets the, I think it's 2.5%. And I believe that this budget could be much less than what it is. We need to spend our taxpayers' dollars in a judicious and appropriate manner to give them the best services that we can. But just to pacify others, pacify anyone or any concern that's in this budget is not the proper way to prepare a budget. And also trying to get everything done early is not a good manner because this is only the 16th of October and we still have 10 weeks left to do this budget. We could easily do this budget the last week of November or the first week in December and have a better budget. But as I stated, I'm not at all in approval of several issues in this budget. So I will be voting no to express my concern about how we go through the process and the amount of money that we're spending that I believe is totally unnecessary.
Thank you. Anybody else want to speak? Trustee Frazier?
Well, you know, I have real concerns over the budget because, especially on the salary issues, we were never consulted on what the process was on determining raises that were more than 2%. We asked questions about it and we were told it was to get to union equivalents, or it was, I can't remember the reasons, but they weren't, they seemed arbitrary to me. They weren't founded on an evaluation, a written evaluation or anything. So I just think we're giving 10 raises on the salary schedule, 10 different individuals out of the salary people who are getting raises above the 2%. that totals approximately $60,000 extra, rather than just giving them the 2%. And I also noticed that we have part-time people still working at $10.40, an hour, and even Amazon has gone to $15 an hour for their minimum wage. So I would like to have seen us go to the $15 an hour for the part-timers, who are making, $10 in less than $15. But the real concern that I had was from an individual getting a $14,750 raise in one fell swoop. And I know that this person is worth the money. We were given a sheet and told this is because it's equivalent to other communities of our size. That's what that position gets paid. But nowhere on there does it say the number of years those people have at their job and the experience that they bring to the table. We have an individual that has 2 years' experience and doing an excellent job. And everybody knows that this person is doing an excellent job, but I can't, in reality, look at one of my residents and say, hey, I okayed a $14,000 raise for one individual. I just can't. I've tried to minimize it. I've tried to say to myself, now, Sherry, just go with the program and go along with these things. So I finally came to you after our last meeting, with Kevin Martin was with me, and I offered a compromise that I thought was reasonable. I asked that since we're giving quite a few people of the 10, we're giving at least four or five of them $5,000 raises. So I said, why don't we amend the 2018 budget and give that individual a $5,000 raise, and then give another $5,000 for the 2019 budget. That would be $10,000, and then give the 2% raise on top of that. That would bring the person in about $63,000, which is close to what is asked for. I mean, I can't realistically go to a citizen and say, hey, it's okay. I've tried to convince myself. I'm a former union member. I never heard of a union person okaying a 28% raise for an individual. Maybe we can do it. Obviously we can. There's another individual getting an almost $9,000 raise. And what? I mean, in 1 year? It's just $5,000. I could maybe handle that. But when you get over that, it's just, we have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people getting $5,000 raises. Everybody else is getting a 2% raise.
I call for the point of order.
What kind of atmosphere are we setting up?
For the point of order.
Fine. I knew we couldn't talk about it,
I'm not going to sit here and let my employees be humiliated any longer. I call them for the point of order.
They're not being
Okay.
I am calling for the
humiliated.
point of order.
Are you done
I
with that?
said, I can't look at a resident, whether you can or not.
I called
Miss
for the
Bowe.
point
Okay,
of
all right,
order.
I got, okay.
I can't.
I called for the
question.
point of order.
Call the question. Let's
All right,
put that.
all right.
Call the
All right,
question.
the question's been called.
You don't want to hear a compromise?
We've called for the corner, Sherry, that's enough.
No,
Sherry,
it isn't,
we've already
Sherry.
discussed-
Now it's
okay,
point of
okay,
order.
Okay, point of order, you're going off base. Secondly,
Yeah.
Question's been
I
called.
am discussing
Question's
the
been called, no
salaries.
more discussion.
We've already
Why
had,
are
we've
you-
had
Okay,
this
let's
discussion
vote.
for 6 months,
Let's vote.
okay?
And nothing has been done about
Again,
it.
control,
No
meeting.
compromise.
Stop this.
Okay,
Just
Call of
remember,
order, call
folks,
of
Stop.
McNamara gives out $14,000 raises.
You've
That's
got
it.
to stop this.
That's it.
You know, this is.
okay.
This
Now
Get
you're out
that
of
on the
line, way out
paper.
of line. Okay, so, first of all, we're
It's true.
gonna vote right now on a non-debatable item, which is called a question. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, with the questions called, we're gonna go right to a roll call, because we already know that there's votes. Clerk Wright, would you please call the roll for the 2018-2019 budget?
Trustee White,
No.
Trustee Miller,
Yes.
Trustee Martin,
Yes.
Trustee Frazier,
No.
Treasurer Bud.
Yes.
Yes for me, Supervisor.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. We are done with that. Good. Next item, Trustee Martin, did you want to make a motion on this one? Could you read it off? Number 5?
I make a motion to approve Resolution 2018-27, adoption of fiscal year 2018 amended water and sewer budget and fiscal year 2019 proposed water and sewer budget.
Support.
Okay. Is there any discussion on the sewer budget?
Through the chair.
Yes, Trustee Frazier.
I would just like to know why you said, Trustee Martin, can you pass this?
Because on the one before that?
Because I
Because on the one
think
before that,
it was the budget.
because the one before that, Trustee Miller and Trustee Martin called out at the same time, I took Miller over Martin.
I
I'd like to try and
believe-
even things out.
I believe, okay. Well, you know, you should just say, would somebody like to make a motion? That's the way a meeting is run by Robert's Rules of Order. It's not dictated by the supervisor who supports the, who says
supervisor
the
actually does
thing.
pick out who speaks.
But somebody has to speak first.
I choose who gets to make the,
Oh, so
Make
you're
it.
running, so you're
that's Robert's rules.
determined?
That's
You
Robert's
can-
rules.
But when somebody says they want to make a motion, you're
Knew he-
supposed to
I knew he wanted
recognize
to make the
them.
motion. Okay, and I acknowledged
Oh,
him.
you knew he wanted
Yes,
to
I
make
did.
the motion? Oh.
Do you have
okay.
anything on the issue?
No.
Okay. All right, we have a motion by Trustee Martin. We have supported by Trustee Miller. Hearing no further comment, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? This motion passes. Next item is to consider approval of Resolution 2018-26, adoption of the 4-year 2018 amended special revenues budget.
Through the chair.
Commissioner
I'd like
Putnam.
to make a motion that we approve Resolution 2018-26, adoption of the 2018 amended special revenue budgets and the 2019 proposed special revenue budgets, noting A, revenue in excess of those noted shall be dedicated to fund balance, and B, items not expensed shall revert to net income.
Support.
Okay, we've got a motion by Bud, supported by Trustee Miller. Does anybody have any questions on the special revenue funds?
Can we
Here-
have an overview of that, please, as to what that is?
Through the chair,
Yes.
should we read off the special revenue funds so that our honorable residents know what we're talking about?
That's
Yeah.
what I just,
She just said.
that's what I said.
Most of the public, the special revenue funds kind of speak to themselves as to what they are. There is an E911 fund. There is the Community Block Grant, which is a CDBG fund. There is the Downtown Development Fund. There's the Local Development Finance Authority Fund, the Federal Forfeiture Fund, the State Forfeiture Fund. As I said, the E91 Service Fund. We have the Landfill Fund, the Belleville Area Museum, the Long-Term Debt Fund, and the Capital Improvement Fund.
Okay. Hearing no further questions, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? This motion passes. We have no reports due today, so we're into public comment. Is there anybody who wishes to make public comment on non-agenda items? Anybody that wants to make public comment? Hearing none, board comments. Is anybody on the board? Clerk Wright.
The comment I'd like to make is that A couple of months ago, the board, we voted to approve the board meeting conduct. And I would personally just like to see those rules that we voted to uphold be taken into consideration at every board meeting. Those meetings is rule number 8, go through 8.1 to 8.9 in your rule conducts. And it covers all the stuff that we have questions about regarding who makes the motion, the support of the motion, who speaks first, how long you should speak, how many times you speak on a motion. When addressing the board members, they should be addressed by the title and last name, not the first. Remarks must be confined to merit or dependent question. A courteous tone must be maintained, interjecting personal attacks and strictly prohibited. These include limited to derogatory or degrading, repeated, abusive, and accusation language that serves no legitimate public purpose. Allegations of criminal and civil wrongdoing, critiques shall be made in a respectful manner. 8.6, all board members may ask for a point of order when another member's remarks are considered not relevant to the pending question or a personal attack. In such case, the chair may make the determination without discussion. Just to go 8.7, member refuses to adhere to the board meetings rules or decorum set forth may be called out of order by the chair. A vote of the majority of the board will determine the rules of the decorum has been violated. 8.8, board members shall not use their personal mobile device to answer phone during the meeting. Board members who have attended personal business may step away. 8.9, adjournment must be made within 2.5 hours. In case of early adjournment, pending motions on the table shall be finalized and public comment may be observed. I ask that we adhere to these rules that we as a board voted on and move forward. And like I said last night, we have the potentials to do great things if we work together as a board. And township, from what I understand about the governance in the township, different from the city, everyone has a fair shake. We all serve as equal. We all have one vote, and we rule by consensus, by majority, which means majority rules except for vote on the ordinance, which takes 2/3 vote. So everything I learned in MTA that the board speaks as one when you vote, and that's a majority. When the majority speaks, it's the vote, and that's it. We all don't get our way all the time, but when the majority speaks, as one voice for the board, not independent ideas or independent issues or independent concerns. It's one vote, majority rules. And we think about that. We do that. I think we can move forward and stop out of the interjections and critiques regarding why we don't like this. A lot of things I don't like, but when the majority speak, they speak.
Through the chair.
Trustee Miller?
I agree to a certain point with Clerk Wright. I believe, though, that we all have a voice, and we all are one vote, and we all have opinions that we can share, regardless if we agree with each other. There's a professional way to go about that. But I don't want anyone to think that the majority wins here without any one of us being able to speak on behalf of anything.
Anybody else?
Yes.
Mr. White?
I understand everything that Clerk Rat stated. However, every single person on this board is responsible to our residents. That money does not belong to us. It doesn't come out of our pockets, only what we pay on our property taxes and our federal taxes and our state taxes. And it is our duty and our obligation to provide the highest quality of public services and safety to our residents. That's the first priority. However, a lot of times we're spending money which I believe is absolutely not necessary, and I also believe that this board could do a better job if we would all realize that. A township board is a little bit different. There is no executive on the board. There is a clerk with his specific duties. There is a treasurer with her specific duties, as listed in the papers, and also the same with the supervisor with specific duties. However, once the 7 of us sit down at this board, then we are one unit and we all have a voice and a say as to how we think and feel about everything. I do agree that it should be in a professional manner, but I have a right, as long with the other 6 occupants of the seats here on this podium, to speak out as well as anyone else, and I intend to do that. I'll do my best to do it in a professional manner and state it with under complete control and knowledge that I have for when I'm studying the budget and when I'm studying the board packet every week. And I do study the board packet. I do go over the voucher list so that I know what the heck is going on, because I think it is my responsibility. And you know that I do that. And there's been several problems corrected because I do that. And we've seen that happen in just the recent past. And it is an obligation. It's not he say, she say. It is an obligation for every elected member of this board to do the very best they can to spend our residents' money and anything that comes from Washington, Lansing, or Wayne County in the most appropriate way to benefit our residents. That's the only reason we're here, is to run this government for public safety and conveniences for our residents. No other reason.
Thank you.
Good job.
And I think every resident need to know that the treasurer, which does so well, collects taxes for every household that pays taxes in the sum, and we send it off to Lansing, and it comes back to Van Buren Township at a tune of $28 per household, which equivalent to about $210,000 in state revenue share. That pay about 3 salaries of our highest paid directors. Even, I think this township does a great job in the .9 mills that we assess from the township in regards to taxes. Everyone needs to know that you pay your taxes to the treasurer, but all your taxes don't go to your local government. The majority of it go to Wayne County, the state, the schools, Wayne County Community College. We work off of $28 per household, which is about $210,000 to $20,000 we get back in state statutory. And everything else comes from, unfortunately, the landfill and other revenues that we collect and the different departments work hard to achieve. I'll be the first one to say that, yeah, we always need to take care of township's money, but I think it's also our job to educate the constituents on how they taxes are spent, and that the local division is not where your money is being spent. We do a great job here. Your money is being spent by other entities that you need to be looking at, not Van Buren Township. Thank you.
Treasurer Bud.
I think this board has done a good job with the budget. I think our staff has done an excellent job with the budget. I think Dan did an excellent job of doing the presentation. I think we've gone over it for a lot of times. We spent a lot of time looking at it. I think the supervisor spent a lot of time talking to each trustee individually, and we've looked at it as a group. So to say we're wasting money, I think, is disservice to the people that have worked so hard to make this happen. So again, I would like to thank all the directors, Dan Selman, and everyone that helped put this together, because it is, and I do not think we're foolishing, and I think we all live here. Our biggest concern is what happens in this community, because when I go home, I still live in this community, and I have to face people every day. And I am very glad for the people that work for us and for the job that we've done.
Okay.
Through the chair.
Okay. Trustee Miller.
Again, not everyone got everything that they wanted. We didn't win on certain points, but the biggest problem and the biggest deal that was made, and rightly so, was that you had certain employees getting certain amounts higher than others substantially. And what I said was, we need to evaluate employees fairly annually, and there was a lot of disagreement with this. But again, I still think this is a good budget. I still think that we need to address that to, level the playing field for others, and to evaluate our employees fairly and equitably every year, so they know where they stand, that they have goals and objectives to meet, and they can understand their strengths and weaknesses. So for that, I agree with Trustee Frazier that we need to not give such high raises to one person over another. So that was the biggest contender I had, and I think the public should hear that. But again, I'm pleased with how the budget came out overall, and I appreciate everyone's help.
Through the chair.
Trustee Frazier?
I just want to clear up something, is that I certainly value every employee and think that every employee is doing an excellent job. But to arbitrarily, for the 2016, 2017, now we're at this budget, and we are arbitrarily, we have nothing to point to the high raises or the $5,000 raises that we've given people. It just doesn't make sense. We're on a slippery slope. Now, next year, last year, I thought we said we would not, give out exorbitant raises. But it was put down on paper. So what could I do at that point after it was put down on paper? I have to look like the bad guy when I question how we can justify a $14,750 raise for one individual in the township. In what? What was that, Sherry?
I said, we've been
already
through this,
discussed
Sherry,
this.
we already
Well,
discussed
we've
it.
been through this.
We've already called a
And
point of order for
For you to
this.
say that I'm demeaning the employees, it has nothing to do with the employee. It has to do with how we give out raises in our township. That's my point. The point is not what job they're doing or how good they are at their job. The point is, how are we going about determining wages that are well above normal? Well above the 2% that everybody else got in the room. How did the directors feel they got 2% and we didn't? Oh, it's okay, Supervisor McNamara, for Mr. Wright or Treasurer Wright to go on and on about reading off his laptop. That's okay. I just would like to make sure that we understand what I was trying to
Trustee
make.
Martin has made a point of order, and I'm going to take that point of order.
Okay,
Since
I'll
you have been
stop
saying
talking.
things that are absolutely so false that it's
Oh,
getting
how is
tiring
it
listening to
false?
it.
I'll speak for a moment, I'm sorry. We just had this discussion about meeting conduct. And it's upon ourselves to police ourselves. At some point in time, you gotta police yourself. And we all know the rules, we all voted on them, this board made the decision, and it's a board decision, whether you were for or against it. At the end of the day, it's a board decision, like any board decision, whether it's 7-0, 6-2, 5, 4-3, or whatever, it's still, at the end of the day, it's a board decision, and that decision is final. And we have, we have a code of conduct, and we should take it upon ourselves to police ourselves. Period.
Through the chair. Through the chair.
Actually,
I just want to say one other thing. It
It's
takes a
15
teacher 10 years of teaching in the classroom to get to $66,000. So I would just like to make that point, that to give a person with 2 years' experience
I am going to
$66,000
call.
is
all right,
ridiculous.
I'm going
I
to
make a
call
motion
point
to
I
of
don't
order.
care.
Made that motion.
I
Oh,
make
I'm
a
sorry.
motion
All
we
right,
adjourn.
I'm going to uphold the point of order that was already called now. All right, I am taking a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion we adjourn.
I already had one from Miller. Support. Can I have a support for the adjournment? Frazier. All in favor? Aye. Thank you very much.
I made the
Thank you for
motion.
coming.
I made the motion to join before they start talking.